John Wall is happy to be joining the Clippers so that he doesn't have to be Batman anymore. Like two sumo wrestlers, two morbidly obese sports writers are bumping bellies to get the Kyrie Irving story. And for the record, the NL West, the race is over. I'm not trying to make a bold prediction, it just is. Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelenos. If I sound like I got a little bit of fake energy, you're probably right. It is July 10th, 2022. I am standing amidst a pile of women's products and moving supplies and half unpacked stuff. We have a sponsor for today's episode of Faithful Angelenos, Hard Liquor. Now, if you like the content we've been putting out about LA sports for the last 4 months, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. We put out videos between 9 and 10 a.m. every day. It'll let you know it's there. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And yes, comment. Because something's got to keep me company during this crud. Before we get to the news and notes, let's check a look at the scoreboard. Last night, Jake Lamb hits a home run. Clayton Kershaw, just one earned run in 7 2/3 innings. Dodgers 4, Cubs 2. The Dodgers have a 7-game lead in the NL West, which means they would have to lose 7 consecutive games in a week, and the Padres would have to win 7 consecutive games in a week. I'm here to tell you, over the course of 2.5 months, 2 to 3 months, no. The Dodgers, it's not happening, okay? Even with all the injuries, just imagine how this team is going to be when they get to full strength. The division race is toast. That's not me trying to be Skip Bayless. It's just running the numbers. By the way, they've won 10 of their last 11 games. Today, meanwhile, the Cubs will play the Dodgers. That's going to be Julio Urias, who is 7-6, versus Drew Smyly, 2-5. Now, out at the Summer League games in Las Vegas, some of the, big names in the league have been showing up. LeBron's been there. Lakers staff has been there. And yes, even some of the Clippers. They found John Wall there last night, and he said that he is glad to have joined the Clippers so that he doesn't have to be Batman every night in order for the team to win. Dude, you're not Batman. Let's just cut to the quick. You didn't even play last year. It's not because Bane snapped your spinal cord, bro. You didn't play. It was your choice. That is the equivalent of Bruce Wayne saying, bleep Gotham City. I'm just going to kick back with the hookers and blow. It didn't happen. Nobody, by the way, is going to confuse Houston, Texas with Gotham City. You're not Batman. What is it about professional athletes trying to compare themselves with Batman, by the way? I don't get it. I never have. John, Mr. Wall, never met you. To be frank, kind of like you. I actually do. But Batman never threw up gang signs on social media. Okay? Let's not get it twisted. Batman wouldn't be kicked off a passenger plane for getting into verbal altercations with random people. You're not Batman. Maybe if you're lucky, you're Deadpool. I mean, then I started realizing you've missed 2 of the last three years. Even the Silver Surfer is looking at you like, what's up, dude? Stop. I can't get over this. People comparing themselves with Batman. Why? I've looked at the guy's season stats. Aquaman wouldn't have missed 2 of the last 3 years. Black Panther didn't turn the ball over that often. Hulk loved to set the pick. What are we talking about? Now, we have, speaking of the Clippers, talked a lot about the need at point guard, which necessitated them trying to get John Wall. And of course, the cost was backup center Isaiah Hartenstein, I should say, going to New York. And that all of a sudden opened up another hole. Who's going to play backup center? Now, The Athletic is reporting they have extended an offer to Moses Brown, which is going to be fine if he chooses to accept, okay? Moses Brown is not exactly a game changer, but he does average about 8 points a game. He's done so in Dallas, Cleveland, Oklahoma City. Game changer? No. Production? Sure. I'll go with that. In the latest episode of Dueling Chubby Sportswriters, Mark Stein reports... Okay, hold on. Let me backtrack to explain. There aren't too many sports writers who are in shape. I used to be a sports writer. I could stand to be in a little bit better shape. I totally get that. But the two scribes that are fighting each other desperately trying to will a Kyrie Irving to the Lakers trade into existence are Brian Windhorst, who works at ESPN, and Mark Stein, who used to work at ESPN. So I'm guessing they're both just basically hating on each other, trying to out-muscle, if you could call belly fat muscle, to the Kyrie Irving story. Which is kind of hilarious if you think about it, because neither one of them, they're both covering the NBA. Neither one of them could survive one match of 3-on-3 on a half court, right? Let alone full court. Anyway, so there's Stein and Windhorst. They're slapping each other like a couple of minions chasing Kyrie like he's Gru, right? And so when Kyrie news breaks, I'd like you to picture both Stein and Windhorst slapping each other, speaking in gibberish, wearing overalls. Stein is reporting, I had to segue, by the way. I just had to, because all this Kyrie stuff is crap. Now, Stein is reporting that the Nets want a first-round pick for Kyrie Irving. The Lakers have first-round picks in both 2027, 2029. I just want to cut to the chase. What makes all of these proposals for Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers completely hilarious is that neither team has any leverage to make a trade. What are we talking about? Neither team has leverage to make a trade. There's only one reason to want Russell Westbrook right now, and that's the expiring contract. The only reason to want Kyrie Irving in the Lakers, aside from spacing, is maybe, just maybe, he'll want to play with LeBron again. So what are we talking about here, right? Meanwhile, with the Lakers, GM Rob Pelinka was also spotted in Las Vegas, and he just started talking up Anthony Davis's offseason. Quote, "You could just tell. He's got a very serious tone about him." I'm not fooled. I would love for Anthony Davis to come out and start balling, but this is a guy who didn't start shooting a basketball since the Lakers season ended. He didn't shoot a basketball not once for about 2 or 3 months. So what are we saying? I don't buy it. You'll have to prove it to me first. For the Dodgers, Andrew Heaney, starting pitcher, he pitched a bullpen session yesterday. It went well. Manager Dave Roberts is saying one more session perhaps before the guy goes and starts doing a rehab assignment. Whatever, Dodgers are in first place. We'd love to have Andrew Heaney back, but we could just be cautiously optimistic. The LA Kings have $6.5 million in cap space after the big trade to bring in Kevin Fiala, and of course after signing Adrian Kempe. There are a few free agents on their own team that they would like to keep. It would include forward Carl Grundstrom, defenseman Mikey Anderson, Sean Dursey, and maybe Oli Mata or Alex Edler. There's no way you're going to fit all 5 of them in with $6.5 million in salary cap space. So if they want to keep them, there's going to have to be trades. And if I tell you who's got the best contracts to trade or the biggest contracts of potential tradable players, you're not going to like it. Jonathan Quick, $5.5 million. Maybe Alex Iafallo at $4 million. So the Kings aren't in salary cap hell. I don't want to tell you like that. But there's some tough decisions to be made. Because somebody has to make paychecks. Somebody has to create content in order to keep their jobs on some of these websites for sports. CBSSports.com has created Pac-12 coaching rankings. Not who's the best coach in the country. No, who's the best coach in the Pac-10? Lincoln Riley, who has yet to coach one Pac-12 game, I should say, one Pac-12 game, ranked number 1. However, not far behind, Chip Kelly of UCLA, ranked number 3. Speaking of USC and UCLA, as we all know, they're both going to be leaving the Pac-12 in a couple of years to go to the Big Ten. Now, the LA Times, their sports section is 50-50, right? 50% intelligent, 50% what the hell. Like for every, you'll read a Bill Plaschke column blaming white people for Brittany Griner being caught up in a Russian prison. And then your eyes roll, right? Because it's not like I'm the one who gave her the joint and told her to take it through a Moscow airport, right? I'm not happy she's in jail. I didn't do it. It's not my fault. But then you read the LA Times asking a pretty intelligent question. Is former Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott really to blame for USC and UCLA leaving? For the whole conference imploding as a result? And so they did ask a bunch of people, and they did their analyzing. And pretty much the answer is yeah, it is Larry Scott's fault. Look, the answer is yes. He overpriced the Pac-12 network. About 10 years ago, he wanted to create a regional network, and he made multiple fatal decisions in the process. First of all, one of them was that the Pac-12 creates a lot of athletes that you see in the Olympics, especially UCLA. And so as a result of that, the Pac-12 network wound up running a lot of things that people don't watch unless it's the Olympics. I'm sorry. I appreciate the fact that these guys are spending so much of their lives becoming in perfect physical condition in order to compete with the world's best. I'm not staying until 2 in the morning to watch Oregon versus Oregon State in a track meet. I'm not doing it. So that was one problem. And second, because of the fact that they create so many Olympic athletes, Larry Scott allegedly valued the Pac-12 network too much and charged subscribers an additional 80 cents a month for some content they weren't going to watch. And DirecTV balked and said no. And so therefore people didn't start to watch the Pac-12 network because they wouldn't pay for it. And then finally, as a result, Fox and ESPN, they knew that they had leverage. So what they said was, if you want our money, because we're paying you billions for Pac-12 football, we want to schedule the games. We want to put games at night. As a result, Pac-12 football games stretched to midnight. And if you were on the East Coast, way past midnight. So nobody watched Pac-12 football. So it was a fatal confluence of really bad decisions in terms of content, in terms of overvaluing the content, and taking the only content that you had that had value and pushing it in an undesirable spot for people to watch. So it is Larry Scott's fault. But on the plus side for him, Larry Scott was the most highest paid commissioner in the land. More than the SEC, more than the Big 12. You fleeced the Pac-12, bro. Good job. But to repeat, Brittany Griner, while I wish she wasn't in a Russian prison, she is in one, and it's not my fault, Bill Plaschke. So if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We are trying to build something here for LA sports. This may not be a perfect episode, but it was kind of fun for me to get out of my system. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm James. Faithful Angelenos is a Kia and Corta El Queso production. Take care.